This is the Art Marketing Minute with Eric Rhodes, author of the Amazon best-selling book, Make More Money Selling Your Art. In the Marketing Minute, we answer your questions to help your art career. Brought to you by artmarketing.com, the place to go to learn more about marketing. Now, here's your host, Art Magazine publisher, Eric Rhodes.
Thank you, Jim Kipping, and thank you for joining us today. I am here. My goal is to eliminate the idea of the starving artist. So let's get right to today's questions. Here's a question from Omar Schmid in Carlsbad, New Mexico, who says, should we do discounts on our artwork, even with discounts I'm not selling? But I advertised several of my oldest beginner paintings for free and they were claimed within an hour. Yeah, Omar, don't do that, baby. Look, advertising paintings for free is a great way to never sell another painting because you're establishing that there's no value to them. If you want to give paintings away for free, that's fine. Do it privately, do it quietly, but don't do it publicly, and certainly don't advertise it because that's going to make it harder for you in the future to sell anything. Now, people will take used dental floss for free if you give it to them. So paintings, same thing. But you've got to find people who value paintings. You got to go to the right places. Look, I don't know how you're trying to sell. I can't comment on your discounting, but discounts are not the reason people typically buy. Now, there are people who, if they're in the market for something, they find it for a discount, they'll buy it. But most people won't even spend money on something they don't want if it's discounted. Paintings are emotional. If somebody falls in love and they'll pay what they think is a fair price in their mind. The key is understanding that and matching it. Clearly, discounts can work, but they can also wound you. There's a time and a place, like Nordstrom's does one sale a year. I typically do a Black Friday sale, which is coming up, but I don't normally do discounting. I've been doing it during COVID because everybody needs a break right now, and quite frankly, we need the money too. So we figured that was a win-win, and the artists need the money, so we're helping them. But people who always see you discounting, your price is always going to be a discount price. You might not get them back to pay the full price. So some retail stores do that, right? You know, every time you walk into certain stores, it's always 40% off. And you just know that they're marking it up so they can mark it down. But again, that kind of depends on what you're selling. In the art world, that doesn't tend to happen much. A starting point, Omar, is to find out if your work's any good. Is there somebody out there who can give you critiques of your work, be objective, and don't look for all the good stuff. Look for only the bad stuff. You don't want to hear all the compliments. You want to hear what's wrong with it and is it marketable and can you improve it so you can find out if you're ready. Discounts are usually signs of desperation, all right? Giving things away is fine, but don't be public about it. Chances are people who got them were not in the position to be cash buyers anyway, but they'll take them for free. So the other thing is, do you really want paintings out there that you did early that have your name and your signature on them? Be careful about that because they will haunt you down the road. Right? Someone will show up in auction or something, and then you'll be like, ooh, I want that out of the market. I'm not proud of that. Right? So you got to find a market. You got to find a place to sell your work and to be seen by buyers who appreciate fine art. I can help you with that by reading my book. I think that's a good place to start. There's a question from Lee Brandt in Evansville, Indiana. Lee, I'm from Indiana. Lee says, can you speak to overcoming the fear of rejection when exposing your artwork to the public or a gallery? Oh, Lee, I'm all over that because I am like Mr. Rejection. I was talking to a psychotherapist today, and she told me that the number one problem is lacking self-esteem. Self-esteem, of course, can be situational. There are some people I'm totally confident around. I could stand in front of 1,000 of them and dance on stage and not have any problem. And there are others I'm like shy and reserved around. I know that's hard to believe, but, depends on certain levels of respect or where they came from. Some of my early mentors and people that I looked up to, I'm still a little intimidated by some of those. So, and there's just certain people. So keep in mind it's situational. When I first put my work in a gallery, I was uncomfortable and I was making lots of excuses and I was insecure. It felt very unlike me. A rejection is really fear, but why do you fear it? Why don't you embrace rejection? Can you flip it around and say, I actually want rejection? Now, why would you do that? Well, first, you know that every painting has a special person for it, right? It's not going to appeal to everyone, just like not every painting appeals to you. Paintings are emotional reminders, memories, childhood places, things like that. They're not going to appeal to everybody. And so Let's say that you know this and you know that you're going to appeal only to 1 out of 20 people. Well, as soon as you get those 19 people to reject you, maybe you get to the 20th and you get to a sale sooner. So the faster you can get the rejection, that way you'll embrace it. You'll say, okay, I got a rejection. Good. Check that off. Next. That way you're closer to a sale. Does that make sense? All right. A friend of mine is a sales trainer. She stuffs her pockets with $100 bills. And she says to a person, okay, ask me for the order. And every time she says no, she says, take one of those $100 bills. And then, they ask for the order 20 times. She finally says yes, and they get to keep all the $100 bills they plucked off of her. I think the idea is to make the example that you got to ask a lot. You got to be willing to ask and for an order. And so some of that is training that you could stand to have, when you're dealing with artwork. We're always, or at least often, insecure about our artwork. It's normal, but why? Well, maybe we don't think we're good enough. And if that's the case, if we're insecure about our work, then maybe we need to have it evaluated, to look at it and say, is it good enough? Should we be out there yet? Can we improve? And always look for ways you can grow and improve. That's why videos and workshops and seminars and conventions and things like that are really, really helpful. Don't think of this as rejecting you. They're not rejecting you. They're just not clicking with that particular painting. It's nothing personal. So as soon as you understand that, embrace that, the faster you're going to get beyond that fear. People are generally kind. They want you to succeed. Look for the bright side in everything and don't look at them as being critical of you or your painting. It just hasn't appealed to them. Embrace failure as lessons that bring you closer to the success that you want. I think I could write a whole book about that topic. Well, this has been the Art Marketing Minute with me, Eric Rhodes. My goal in life is to eliminate the idea of the starving artist and to help your dreams actually come true. So if you want to submit questions, simply email eric@artmarketing.com. And to learn more about marketing ideas, you can visit artmarketing.com. Thanks for listening.